Welcome to Compassionate Conversations, where we push the boundaries of comfort to empower you to become all that you dream of being. Welcome to Compassionate Conversations. I'm so excited about today's episode, where I will be interviewing Tamara Wensley. We will be discussing how to end toxic relationship patterns and how to find the fabulous partner you deserve. We will be basing our discussion around the book that I wrote entitled That Chump, a 10-step plan for ending bad relationships and attracting the fabulous partner you deserve. The book can be found in the show notes. Here's some background on today's guest. Tamara Wensley is the owner of Primal Sisters and creator of Louis Pasteur Pork Crisps and the Tal Love skincare line. Her aim is twofold. One, to leave the smallest footprint on our beautiful earth as possible. And two, to inspire humans to take back their health and eat as they were born to while supporting local and sustainable farms. Welcome, Tamara.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to have you here. I think we should begin with this cute little story of how we met and how we got into a discussion about my book and yeah. So we were at a social event recently and we met and we were just talking about all kinds of stuff and there were lots of other people there. And then how did it come up? You asked what I did for a living or something?
Yeah, I asked you what you did.
Yeah, and I told you, so I gave you my card.
You just gave me your card. You didn't.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
Yes. And then you kind of looked shocked.
Yeah, because your name has always been forever ingrained in my mind, and since I read your book, but I couldn't remember the name of the book. Right. But I knew your name.
Right.
You changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
That was so touching, and I was just completely moved by that.
It was unexpected for the day.
Yes, because I just toil away at my work, and I just write things. Basically, I wrote That Chump based on the fact that I just kept hearing the same old story from countless women about these toxic relationship patterns. It was like the same guy every time they were talking about. I mean, and also in same-sex relationships as well. It could be a woman. But I just kept hearing the same theme over and over again. So I just thought, I'm just going to write a book, self-help book, and maybe this will help at least one person.
I'm sure it helped more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really did make me, I thought I was just isolated, honestly.
Right.
When you're in it, you don't think anyone else could possibly be this crazy to be in something like this.
I call it crazy by association.
Yeah.
You're not crazy, but the person you are dating is crazy.
Well, for sure. But when you're in it, I didn't tell nobody really knew. It made me feel, oh my God. Like it was just, it just honestly blew. Sometimes I get speechless about it because the significance of reading it, when I was an adult, you would think I would know.
Well, So what we're going to do, we're going to get into more detail. So I'd like to go through each of the 10 steps outlined in the book.
Okay.
Because it's a self-help book and it's you have to do a lot of work. So you obviously, and you may or may not have done all the steps, I don't know. But I just want to touch on each step and ask you to describe how you worked through each one, or if you did, or if you've maybe had thoughts about that step, later on. So the first step is make a commitment to yourself. In this step, you take concrete action towards treating yourself the way you want a fabulous partner to treat you someday. So, did you take any actions in order to make a commitment to yourself? Do you remember?
I did, but maybe it was more of a realization, which I start. First of all, the first step of writing down was really, since my since my daughter was born, I hadn't really journaled or written stuff down.
Yeah.
And
every step, it's a really hands-on.
Yeah, and I've had lots of counseling sessions before that but I committed to doing these steps with this book. I thought, I'm going to focus on this because I wanted some help.
Yeah.
And so just writing down my thoughts to the first chapter and the question got me thinking. And to me, committing to myself it's just a foreign real thought, because in my family it's selfish.
Right. Interesting.
So this was a very significant part that changed everything for me.
Yeah.
And I was raising 2 kids. I was in these crazy relationships. I was already divorced. Now I was in this one.
Yeah.
And so taking care of myself.
Right. Committing to yourself.
Yeah, committing to myself. And I think I'm trying to remember the words, but it was being what do I want?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be? What do I want? And what is this it got me thinking about, that was one of the things was, well, what do I want? With all the questions about how would this look? How would this look? How would this look? I was like, well, it would look like this.
Right.
And then I looked at my crazy partner at the time, and I was like, it will never look like that.
Right.
So all of those pages of writing what I would want, it was like the lights just kept going on. Like, I will never have that with this person.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
It's impossible. That's how I was like, he's not, it's not. So it helped me with the grief. Maybe it was like a grieving process also of, this didn't work. I'm really disappointed. I'm crazy. Him telling me I'm crazy. All these, but I was like, no, I just want something. I have wants. Like it was the whole concept of writing stuff down and really thinking about it was new to me.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the inspiration for the first step was actually based on an exercise that I did. So when I got out of my really abusive relationship, I made a commitment to myself, and I got this from, I think it's Sark. She's in California. She's wonderful. She wrote these wonderful books about wildly wonderful women, and she suggested marrying yourself, having a wedding ceremony. So I actually bought a ring, and I invited all my girlfriends. We had candles, the whole thing, and I married myself. That was my commitment to myself. So that was a profound turnaround in my life.
Yeah, I didn't go that far, but just the step, it was a real commitment to myself to take the time. And ever since then, I got up an hour early. Every day. To commit that to myself, to write down what do I want? What's my intentions? I mean, then it just progressed to this day. It just kept progressing and progressing. Cool. And so totally changed my view of myself, what I deserve, and what I want. Like, who thinks about, well, what do you want? Oh, I don't know. I don't want this.
Yeah. Excellent. So let's go on to step 2. Do some family of origin work. So this is very near and dear to my heart because I'm a family systems therapist. So here you explore in depth the influences from your family that have shaped your beliefs and experiences in intimate relationships. So what connections, if any, did you make between what you learned from your family of origin and how you ended up in a toxic relationship?
Well, again, the questions you asked in that book I had counseling for other previous stuff, which of course brings up family issues. And but I never felt like I had to answer quickly. And I hadn't really thought about it, and it was hard to get out. And I felt I had limited time, so I just tried to shorten it up so that I could get out of there.
Right.
So I think having it in a book, a workbook, to honestly answer and take as much time as I needed and feel the whatever's coming out of it helped me have more realizations. It was like light bulbs were going off like crazy.
Right,
Who
right.
are the example? What? Yeah, where do I get my examples from for men in my life and so on? I looking back, really thinking about the examples of the men in my life. I have two brothers and a dad, obviously grandparents. They're very my dad and his dad, and they're very old. I mean, they're English, very old school, and you provide for your family, which is, I mean, I'm hearing that all the time now, but to me, I never had thought about how that influenced my choices, but they were never really there. Like it was like a detachment and always a disappointment. I always felt my mom's disappointment, and not. I always thought she had so much more in her, but she cleaned and cooked and she worked.
So sort of traditional sex roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she worked as well.
And she worked, and she, and
outside the home.
yeah, and it was, to me, I knew I would have felt disappointed if I was there in that. Yeah. But here I was repeating it almost, just being disappointed all the time.
Ah, interesting. Right. Yeah, the family of origin piece is huge, and sometimes it's like peeling layers of an onion. You know, you peel one layer back and then another one, and I think once you start that process, it kind of keeps going throughout your life.
Yes, and I've had to, once that started coming up, it's a lot of work. Yeah. But it's worth it.
Right. Okay, let's move on. Step 3, re-examine your beliefs and value systems. So in this step, you explore influences from your ethnicity, culture, and or religious background that have shaped your beliefs and experiences in intimate relationships. So did you have any connections you made between those things?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. In my family, and what I was taught growing up is you don't date around. When you're of dating age, you date the person you're going to marry.
Oh.
Hence, I got married I always wanted to.
Where do you think that came from in terms of ethnicity, culture?
A religion. So they were adamant. If you date around,
right,
you're called something, you know. Like, and I was a very I was considered a flirt anyway, so you add on that title, and then you add on what I'm supposed to be fitting into and behaving like. I didn't really fit in. Right. And so getting to know someone, or more than, dating, it wasn't something encouraged. If you're dating, you're ready to get married.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And were you expected to get married young?
There was no expectation of when you got married, but the expectation was you're dating to find a marriage partner. So if you start dating at 17, you're probably going to get married pretty early. So I was married for the first time at 21. Wow. But I hid it from my parents for years. My boyfriend. Okay. But I thought, I guess I'm going to get married. Because that's what you do. I see. And that, we divorced 7 years later, but I have 2 beautiful children from that, and we're still friends. Right. But we probably shouldn't have gotten married. Right. And then this relationship where my friend gave me the book to try and sort myself out. Thank God I didn't marry him. It was so crazy. I probably would have if,
that's how you were raised. So step 4, change your self-talk. So in this step, you identify your false beliefs and replace them with positive and affirming ones that will raise your self-esteem and help you attract the kind of partner you want and deserve. So were you able to identify false beliefs that you had about intimate relationships?
Definitely.
Okay. Definitely. That led you to this toxic relationship.
Yeah. Again, it was, I guess this is what I chose, and this is what I can get. Yeah, this is all I'm going to get. This is what I'm going to get.
Yeah, it sounds like the bar was quite low.
It was pretty low. Yes. And but he was everything I needed at first.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know about the issues, the addictions that were hidden. And I was maybe purposely blind to it. I don't know, but
well, maybe you just never experienced it before.
I had with an alcoholic. Okay. This was a drug addict. So to me, I had drank before, but I never did drugs, and I didn't know anything. Like it was nobody told me. I was like, oh, you lost my, like there was so many signs.
Yeah.
He'd disappear for days or lose money, and I was like, I guess I just need to be better.
Wow.
Because
you need to be better.
Yeah, I need to be better so I can fix this.
Oh, wow.
I need to help him.
So the false belief being that it was your fault somehow that he was doing
oh yeah, and of course addictions they love that. Like, oh yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah. So the gaslighting as well.
And I completely was I'm a terrible person.
Wow.
And
so you believed the things that he told you about yourself that were false.
I think there was a part of me that maybe didn't. I was like, well, wait a minute, what am I doing? But then I couldn't get out of it. The mental state of being like, what is it me?
Yeah.
And it's funny talking about it now because I'm such a different person. I'm so distant from it. But as I'm like, it's hard for me to believe I'm even saying these things.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It just shows how far you've come.
Yeah. At the time, it was embarrassing. And how little self-esteem I had.
Right.
And I hid it all. So I guess I felt like, and thinking about it and answering again, the workbook really helped me honestly take a look at it and gave me time to revisit it every day.
Yeah.
And then watch him and be like, oh, yeah, I don't want that.
Step 5 is figure out who you are and what your needs are. We touched on this a little bit in the first step. But this one gives you the tools to really get in touch with who you are as a person and what you're looking for in a mate. So can you describe the process of figuring out who you were at the core and what your needs were in intimate relationships? Maybe this is sort of down the line when you realized that you didn't want to be with this person.
Yeah, so I started to write down, I think was this the chapter with the lists of
your negotiables and your non-negotiables?
That was huge for me.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, as I was revisiting this and remembering the process and the feelings came back. And so, I wrote down negotiable, non-negotiable. I filled it all in, then I wanted more. I wanted more, and I continued doing that.
Yes.
After I no longer had the book, and
we'll talk about what happened.
And it was amazing to me to write down what I want, because again, at the beginning was, what would I do for myself? And so it kind of stemmed from that. So
the trajectory, we started the book with putting the focus on me. What do I want? What's important to me? And then we continue going through the steps, and we come back around to that.
Yeah.
And get really concrete about it.
Yes. And I had when I first did it, I was going to be frivolous. I was like, well, I would like this and that. And then I was like, and then I still had that self-doubt. I mean, it takes a while to work on yourself. Yeah. So I still had I shouldn't ask for that.
Right.
That's too much. Yeah. I shortened it down. So this was an ongoing process for a few months. But what happened was, I don't know if this is but I met my second husband too soon after.
Okay.
We were married within a year. Again, I clearly have a thing about being married. He had everything on my non-negotiables.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
But I was too focused on that and missed some very important things.
Okay. Work in progress.
Yeah. But when I think about it now, revisiting all of this, I mean, we've been divorced now for 5 years, and it was because of some of the same. He was a lovely man, but he had some troubles. But I'm a better person for it all, because like when I say a book changed the trajectory of my life, I don't even think I would have gotten that far to have a really. He was a very good man, and my children loved him.
Yeah.
It was just as the marriage progressed, there were things I didn't ask in the beginning, which I clearly should have gotten to know him a little bit better. But there was beautiful moments from it, and my kids have wonderful memories, and so I think there's some positives to it too. But I think so now, progressing from that, and even during my marriage, troubling times, and I still journaled every day and revisited the negotiables and non-negotiables, and that's where I realized, oh, I guess I should have. Yeah. I think in your book you had there's room in the workbook for there's pages.
Yeah.
I should have not maybe narrowed it down so much.
Right.
And but that's where I guess doing the other steps continuously till I was ready. Yeah. So that I loved myself more and had higher expectations. It was getting there.
I wonder if you've taken more time between relationships.
Yeah, that probably would help.
To let it all sink in. Yeah. Yeah. And build up the self-worth more and more so that you really felt like you deserved the whole package.
Definitely. And at first I thought he was. He was so different.
Sounds like a step up for sure.
It was a very huge step up, and it was wonderful, and I had good intentions to start with. But yeah, the negotiables, the non-negotiables are really they're a big part.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. Okay, let's move on to step 6. Start becoming the kind of person you want to attract. There's a saying that I love from Marianne Williamson, who's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. I listened to her a lot when I was in my 20s, and she basically said she realized that if she didn't want to be alone with herself, why would someone else want to be alone with her? I thought it was really cute. So in this step, you learn to let go of playing small when you present yourself to potential partners. Instead, you learn to put your best foot forward when you meet people who meet your ideal partner criteria. So how did you start becoming the kind of person you wanted to attract? Have you stopped playing small, and instead, what do you do to put your best foot forward?
Yeah, I'm in such a different place. It took me a while to really get it. So I guess when reading the book, it was more, what do I like about myself? I really had to contemplate. Again, it went back to what I deserved. So it was hard. This one was kind of hard for me to stumble through at first because I was like, well, I am loyal. Yeah. I am honest. I am. Yeah. Could I improve on that? Probably, but it was hard for me to imagine that it was. I could have. I have a hard time articulating it, but it was
hard to imagine that you could attract someone who had the same qualities.
Yeah,
then realize you had yourself.
Yeah, I was like, I think I'm fun, but other people think I'm kind of out there. I'm a pretty flamboyant person sometimes.
But maybe you needed to expand your consciousness to realize that someone else could hold the space for all of this.
Yes, I'm not too big for someone.
I'm not too much.
I'm not too much, which is what
that's a message that we as women get, isn't it?
I was shushed my whole life.
Yeah, be quiet, be demure.
You harebrained ideas. There she is.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, just settle down. And
don't be too big. Don't take up too much space.
It was
physically even. Yeah.
It was a source of something I didn't like about myself. Yet I thought I was real. I was like, well, I think I'm hilarious. Yeah. And so I'm talking now, all these things I love about myself. Maybe I've learned there's a time and place, grown into it a little more. But back then I was still, I want someone who can walk into a room with me and have, joy and love and not have to be drunk to experience that, or high or whatever. Yeah. So this was all, and I wish I did more work with it at the
Yeah.
time, but it's been a
Yeah.
progression
Yeah.
over
I think
the
this
years.
is the meat of the work.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
yeah.
and I definitely this is where also for me boundary settings, setting boundaries. I started to do that
Yeah.
because if I'm going to, if I'm going to be what I want to attract,
Yeah.
I want someone who has boundaries.
Yes. Oh, that's always
So they don't
yeah.
losers in their life, right?
Right,
And invite just
Yeah.
anyone in. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty happily by myself person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I like being with people too.
Yeah.
So
But you want the right people.
I want the right people. So this just was a start to figuring out, yeah, who am I? And there's other people out there like me. Like this is even possible.
That's fantastic. Expanded your horizons.
Yes.
And what you thought was possible. I love that. Step 7, create a strong image of your ideal partner. So here you learn to tap into the incredible power of the mind to create what you want. And they call it manifesting, right? In order to visualize your ideal partner before you even meet them. So what did you do in order to create a strong image of your ideal partner? And did this visualization exercise help you, and how?
This is about when the book was destroyed.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What happened to the book?
Well, I had been writing my little heart out in it and had it in my bedroom. And in between this, the person I was with, he was in and out. I was trying to get him to move out. It was just a year of hell. He found the book and ripped it in half.
Wow.
I no longer had the book. And
someone else burned it, and according to,
I'm sure people aren't happy with it. The
Another
toxic
client
person
told me that their partner burned the book too.
Yeah. He probably would have burnt it if he was near a fireplace, but he ripped it in half.
Wow.
And
That's
was
still
not
effective.
Yeah. And so, but I read, I didn't do a lot of work in this chapter, but it got, these things really got me thinking really for the first time about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like
his timing is kind of impeccable though, because just as you're about to figure out who your ideal partner is, he chose that. Mind you, you'd done already more than half the steps, so he might have been out of time.
Yeah, and what I wrote wasn't him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he saw that.
Thus, the
right,
ripping
like
of the book.
all those things I wrote down.
So he read what you wrote.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
he must have. He had access to it for the whole day.
Oh, wow.
And he found it. Like I wasn't hiding it. It was by my bed. So
that's a bit harsh for him.
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm sure he knew
right
he wasn't the best partner.
Wow. That's incredible. Okay. So let's move on to step 8. Study people who meet the criteria of your ideal partner. So because I kept hearing, I wrote this, added this step, because what I'd say is, figure out what you're looking for. And people would say, well, I don't even know anybody like that. So I thought, well, if we try to study people, there must be somebody you can find. So you get to be an observer, get to know, and get used to the kind of person that you are one day going to attract. And usually people find like an uncle or someone's dad that they know, it's a good guy, or someone's brother. So did you study people who met the criteria of your ideal partner? And so what did you learn?
I wouldn't say I studied them, but there might have been a couple.
Yeah.
I can think of right now. There was like one couple that he would be everything. Yeah. As far as I knew, the way he treated her, we'd go there for dinner parties, and he was lovely and helped with the kids. And but I never felt I had any of the qualities she had.
Oh, you were comparing yourself
I
to
was
her.
comparing myself to her, going, well, why would anyone be like that be interested in me?
Oh, really? Okay.
And if someone was interested in me,
yeah,
who I felt, this is where the sabotage of my own happiness came in, and choose someone completely awful for me. If there was someone interested in me who I felt was close to what I would want, it scared the hell out of me, and I thought for sure they would break my heart. So I wouldn't give
Oh.
them it took me a long time
Yeah.
to recognize that I do have things that people will like.
Of course.
I do have qualities that, I'm not just a pretty face. I have
Yeah.
other qualities,
Yeah.
but it took me a long time to look at couples like that and go,
Yeah.
yeah, I could meet a guy like that and he might like me. No, back then it wasn't even
Yeah.
it was like they would see the fraud.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I felt that's how I felt.
Yeah.
On the outside, I
Right.
portrayed something, but back then I felt I didn't
Yeah.
have it.
So you didn't believe you were deserving.
I
You know
didn't.
what's interesting is when I ask people this question or explore this with people in therapy, often they tell me, "Oh yeah, I know a guy like that or a person like that," but they say I'm not attracted to that kind of person.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like we like the bad ass kind of bad person.
that wasn't it for me. It was
Okay,
more
not for
how I
you.
felt about myself,
Interesting.
and again, probably going back to the thinking about the men in my circle and my family, how they
Yeah.
treated, and the stories I heard about my mom's family.
Mm.
These weren't men who were very nice sometimes
Right.
to their partners.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess I just thought that's how it goes in my
Yeah.
that's where I come from.
Yeah, interesting. So let's move on to step 9. Become friends with people who meet your criteria. This step moves you from observer to active participant and will give you the opportunity to get to know different kinds of potential partners. Did you become friends with people who met your criteria? And if so, what was that like and how did it help you in your quest to find an ideal partner?
Do you know what is very interesting about this one?
What's that?
Is that some of my best friends who I love are men who have all of the
Okay, you already had some.
I allowed it after I started to work through these things, after I read your book and did the work. I allowed those friendships. So there's one in particular who but I wouldn't date him. We hung out.
Right.
We had a great friendship. It was getting to where, can I take you out for for dinner? And I would I had introduced him to my kids. We were just friends, and I was physically attracted to him. He was kind. He brought me gifts. All these wonderful things. I wouldn't date him because I was so afraid of losing him, even as my friend, because things don't last in my life.
Oh, that's the story. That's an old story.
That's an old story. This can't last. He married someone else, and
you lost him.
We're still friends, and I still adore him, and he's a very important. And then I have a few other guys because I have such respect and adoration for men who are just like
decent.
They treat their partners and I just feel so respectful of them, and I want to be around them and their partners, and because they usually choose really but I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
it sounds like you definitely were.
It's the bar for sure.
Yeah,
they're
but
in
maybe you need
relationships.
to work on believing that you deserve to have a relationship with someone like that, and B, that it could last.
Absolutely. And now I'm in a totally different place, and I still have these, and they're like a role model. And I've told them there's just a couple, and I'm like, I'm going to meet someone like you, you're, and I tell them how wonderful it is to see the relationship they're in, because I love being around people in beautiful relationships. I just adore them, and I have such respect for them. So the bar is much higher now.
Good.
Because of my male friends.
Yeah.
I observe how they treat their partners.
Yeah. Excellent. So the last step is date until you find your ideal partner. What has your dating history been up until now, and do you feel you're moving towards finding your ideal partner, or do you even want a partner?
One thing I've realized about myself is I truly need my alone time.
Yes.
And one of the problems with previous relationships was they get too needy and and which is probably I don't know, people need each other. Why are you in a relationship if you don't want to be together?
But I couldn't be with someone that didn't need a lot of alone time either.
Yeah, like that's
drive
just
me crazy.
And so I'm out there and I have tons of energy. I'm always being creative, so that's a lot.
Yeah, you spending a lot of energy.
Yeah, but then at the end, I also like being alone, so it's confusing to partners.
Yeah.
So I find dating, I've maybe talking, I get it started. Yes, let's talk, but then I'm like, they're all once that's too much for me.
Yeah.
I have to return calls and stuff. Maybe I'm just really happy.
Yeah.
The way with what I'm accomplishing now, like being on my own, not being married, not living with someone. I've never accomplished so much in my life ever.
Right.
Because I was focused on what can I do to make them love me.
Yeah.
But the growth I've had, the accomplishments, I'm so proud of myself. I love men. I love my special sweetheart, but I'm really happy pretty much on my own now. I love companionship. The dating, I find when you're dating, again, it goes back to, if you're dating one person, you're in a relationship. But if if you go out on dates with more than one person, it's a completely different.
Yeah.
People don't think that's good.
Right.
Unless you're like on Tinder or something like this.
I think it's more the norm, especially for the younger generation, just to be, in all of these relationships and these.
I just never have been like that. So I find if I start to date someone, I end up in a relationship with them.
It's like a tree falling in the woods. It just falls on you. You think, well, there's my tree. I guess I got to carry it.
Yeah, and that's what I want to. That's what I'm avoiding.
Yeah,
that's what I don't want. Like,
it doesn't sound pleasant.
But my alone time, I'm really enjoying it right now. So
well, it sounds like once you got to know yourself, you started to like your own company.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. So going back to that quote from Marianne Williamson, you like to be alone with yourself.
I do
now. Yeah. And maybe before, do you think you did not like being alone with yourself when you were in a toxic relationship?
I did still need alone time, but I thought that was strange.
Oh, so now you've sort of more embraced
I'm like, no, that's actually what I need. As I've gotten to know myself and continue journaling every day, it's something that I actually am so grateful for. I have creative projects and I have goals, I have things I want to accomplish. So being by myself is where I can really, that's my recharge, and being in nature. And
well, this has been so enjoyable, Tamara. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the book and all it did for me, and I'm so grateful to have been sitting beside you.
Me too. And I think this will help so many other people, just hearing your story. And
that would be amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's show, please take the time to subscribe to this channel. If you're on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and comment on what you liked about it. As well, feel free to pass this episode on to others whom you think may benefit. And of course, we always appreciate positive reviews. We would greatly appreciate it if you took the time to review the podcast so that others will want to check it out as well, and we can spread the word about these compassionate conversations. Thanks so much.